Well, as you well know, as has been well reported, that my wife and I came here to look at the city prior to making a decision about the position. And just coming here and seeing what I saw, coming here and seeing the vitality that I perceived, the commitment to the fine arts that are really important in our lives, the servant leadership aspect, the obvious community partnerships throughout the community, and just the diversity that we have within the community. Things that attracted me and things I thought about the district, I saw the fact that its size to me is an optimal size. To me, that 32 to 33,000, it's a good sized district from the standpoint that you can garner resources that you can redeploy as necessary to meet the needs of the students throughout the district. But it's not such a large district such as the one that I came from, have difficulty getting everyone on the same page, getting everybody moving in the same direction. So I think it's an optimal size in that regard. And then I saw quite a sense of interest in making transformational change here. I heard that as I visited the community prior to my decision to even come to the district at that time, or to apply for the district, and I certainly have seen that since then. There's a sense of efficacy, self-efficacy within our district that I think is certainly beneficial and will help our district move forward going forward.
That maybe some other districts in the state don't face?
Well, being a military community, we always deal with some transiency in the fact that we have students that move from one school to the other, so that does present a unique challenge. And of course, the poverty rate, poverty is a significant challenge that any district who faces high levels of poverty. It's a pretty insidious impediment to student learning in terms of not only from the standpoint of obviously the students are not well fed, but oftentimes this leads to low birth weight babies. Their brain development is impeded, and so all those things go into making having physiological impediments that can be difficult to overcome.
As you looked at the school district, that it was almost like two separate school districts, one area that had high achievers, high test scores, and then maybe an area of schools that didn't have that.
I saw islands of excellence throughout the district. I refer to that in my 120-day plan, that I saw those islands of excellence in the north, I saw it in the Midtown area, I saw it in the south. And so the idea now is to try and pull those best practices together and spread those throughout the district, so we have a rising tide raises all the boats. Actually, I came in with no preconceived ideas about anything. That was the whole point of affording myself the 120 days to go out and assess the community. And so actually, the second day when I discovered and realized the so-called Macon-Dixon line, as it's known, or as I've heard referred to, I basically was at Chili's one night and drawing on a napkin and thinking, how could we divide the district into three vertical regions that would help us to break down the idea of two and go to three and do more of a vertical rather than horizontal. And then that's what started me thinking and developing the plan, the concept of the regional reorganization. The new Georgia Milestones is the assessment that our students will be held accountable for starting this spring. And it's a much more rigorous test. It's going to expect students to do multi-step math problems, explain with constructed responses how they derive those responses or how they derive those answers in math. They expect students in terms of reading to read more complex and lengthy text. And then defend their answers in good quality writing. So it's taking what in the past was the writing assessment and the CRCT, which is at a lower level than we've had in the past, or than we'll have with the Georgia Milestones, and it combines them into one assessment that will be a much more rigorous exam for students. In addition to that, it's going to be within the next few years, the assessment must be administered according to the state on the computer, which brings in yet another dimension, an element that we have to plan and address going forward. So parents need to be aware of those things, but most importantly, they will start to see that as we move the pedagogy of our instruction from the old traditional approach where the teacher pretty much disseminated the information, now the students are going to be responsible, much more responsible for their own learning, with teacher assistance obviously, and helping them. They'll see students start to work more in teams, collaboratively. and then problem solve and reason and think at higher level thinking. All of which is embedded into the Georgia Milestones Assessment.
Are you looking forward to working with the latest edition of the school board, which is about to get started here?
Good school systems are comprised of stakeholders that work collaboratively to achieve success regardless of whatever personal insights or opinions they may have, and using our mission, vision, goals, and so on, mission, vision, values and goals as our North Star. I'm expecting our board to work collaboratively and using that premise going forward to make good decisions in the best interest of our students. Well, first of all, I think students should experience as much as they possibly can and then make their own informed decision as they go forward. I have mixed emotions, frankly, about channeling all their energy into one direction for the simple reason injuries occur in athletics. And then if they have nothing else to fall back on, it's a pretty limited path. But if their interest is in art, music, athletics, ROTC, those are the things the public schools here provide a myriad of opportunities for our students that I think is really critical that they explore and determine their own path. Understanding perspective from that of an athlete, from that of a student, all of which goes into the idea that in my job as an instructional leader, as a leader of an organization, the things that I learned as a band student and as an athlete, teamwork, discipline, structure, all those things go into helping you learn how to lead organizations. And so the leadership in terms of what in my background in music and being a band director and then being a student athlete, I've all congealed to what I would hope to think is a very well-rounded and grounded person that sees the whole picture and not myopically looking at just one particular aspect.
Do you just need to give the artsy kids a chance to develop their gifts?
I think the arts are an essential part of a well-rounded education for all students. I think that oftentimes and going forward in our district, you've heard me probably refer to, I feel like I'm going off on tangents, so.
No, that's okay.
But back to your abstract, I think. So I think the arts are essential for a well-rounded education. I do think that you've heard me refer to us becoming a STEAM district. I certainly acknowledge the need for science, technology, engineering, and math. But again, I do think the arts play a critical role in developing creativity and innovation within students that all students should be afforded in their education. Most communities I've ever been involved with take great pride in their sports teams. So anything that builds pride and spirit within the community, I think is a positive thing. Once again, as long as it's within the appropriate scope and parameters that we want good, wholesome, quality instruction, whether it's athletics or whatever, good, wholesome instruction.
Well, what role did your wife play in this move here? What were her thoughts about it?
Well, at first, she really did not even know where Columbus was. When I came into her, I said, I think I'm going to go check out a position in Georgia. When I showed her where it was on the map, she said, well, okay, you can go, we'll take a look at it. And when she came with me, we were just really intrigued by all the things that are happening down by the river, the vitality downtown, the revitalization there. So many things about the community just intrigued us, and of course, being such an arts-minded community, of which she is very much along those same lines in terms of the arts, and she has just fit in very well here, and she's embraced the community, and I feel like the community that knows her has embraced her as well, so it's been a very good relationship thus far.
This location is kind of new, but it took a long time coming. Library, this building, the swimming building. Was this here before you got here?
Yes. Oh yeah, this has been here 5 years now.
Yeah. How much was that, like, it's not a selling point, but how much would that attract you to come to this city when you saw
Well, I will tell you, my wife and I were right up on that overpass, right over there, when we were kind of coming here for the first time, and she looked over here and saw the building. She said, I think that's it. And I said, yeah, that's it. She said, they get it. that goes to my point about the community supports public education. They get it. And I know all the rancor that was around this building, but I can assure you, and I can tell you that all the visitors who have, I've shared this with people that have come, that have asked me, but people unsolicited from Florida have made the comment about this building. Wow, this community supports public education. They get it. This community has been very supportive of public education over the years, which is another reason that we were interested in coming to Columbus, was its commitment to public education. And they've demonstrated that through SPLOST in the past. We'd like to think, too, that we've shared with the community, and will continue to share with the community, that the SPLOST that was passed in 2009, the board and the Citizens Committee that oversees that has ensured that we have done exactly what we promised we would do in that referendum. And taking that trust forward, we'd like to continue providing providing for the capital needs of our district and our students. So we can in turn then utilize the funding that would otherwise go to capital projects that are always ongoing, such as roofs and sewers and all those things that need to be repaired over the years, taking that money that would otherwise be used for those needs to put toward those things that could help us with pay raises and curriculum needs going forward, as well as other programs. So we think a better placement for a new Spencer is a good first step in the SPLOST. Beyond that, like I said, we continue to have the needs of ongoing roof repairs in our buildings. The technology I mentioned earlier for the online testing. If we don't continually refresh our computers, our students will be behind, will be at a disadvantage, I guess is the best way to put that, and would be at somewhat of a disadvantage going forward, and we know that's critical. And then again, looking at some of our sports, knowing that some of our students really need and want to be participants in sports. That gets them to come to school and keeps them many times in school. And as I go around and look at some of the facilities in our district, I think we can do better.
Do you have a goal in mind, Pat, beyond this job here?
My goal is for this district to become, as I've said from the beginning, the best in its comparison group, and then beyond that, to become one of the premier districts in Georgia. And then beyond that, whatever national comparisons that are drawn from that, fine. But we have the talent, we have great students here. There's absolutely no reason, as I go around and visit the schools in our district, I see some fantastic teaching and learning going on in schools throughout our district. And as we continue to work to provide the resources and build on the momentum we have begun the last few years, I see no reason why we can't become that premier district, and that is my career goal.
Okay.